Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to continue on to Modular 5, which is going to cover sound waves. Now, previously in Modular 4, we talked about the wave properties, all the things that make up waves and how waves interact with one another. When thinking about sound waves, first thing that comes to mind is, what is sound? Well, sound is the vibration that travels through the air or another medium in the form of a longitudinal wave. Now remember, from Modular 4, longitudinal waves are waves that travel parallel with the motion. These are particles that are vibrating back and forth, creating the transfer of sound. Now, let's look at the characteristics of sound. We just discussed that sound is a longitudinal wave. Now, sound travels at 331 meters per second at STP. That's standard temperature and pressure. That's our ideal situation. So at the ideal situation, sound travels at 331 meters per second. Now, the type of medium, or how dense the air is, can change the speed of that sound. We have an equation to determine this. Our equation is V is equal to F times this Greek letter lambda. V is your velocity, F is your frequency, and the lambda is your wavelength. Now, this is important to note. Sound cannot travel through a vacuum. That is why when you go to outer space, you see in movies when people are released into space, you cannot talk. There is no medium, there's no particles to vibrate, to travel and bring sound from one object to another. Now, I hope we all remember talking about wave amplitude. Our wave amplitude when it comes to sound is what determines the loudness. And what we need to understand is the louder the wave, the more energy that wave carries. It's that energy that really brings out the loudness of that sound. And then it's important to know that frequency is what determines the pitch. Remember, pitch is how high or low that sound is, not how loud. How high pitched it is, which is a very high screeching type sound, or very low, which is very we can say when we're talking about a low sound, we're talking about very deep. To our right, I just have a couple examples of how fast sound travels in air, water, steel, and glass. Notice glass, the speed of sound travels the fastest. Oh, I'm sorry, at steel is when speed of sound is the fastest. That has to do with how dense the particles are in steel. What I would like you to do is pause the video and please watch this little clip to help you understand the idea behind hearing the sound. Now, you just finished watching our first video clip on sound. Please pause the video now and watch our next clip on sound. Alright, so we just looked into even more depth of what sound waves are. And when it comes to sound waves, we're going to talk about two phenomena. Our first phenomena we're going to talk about is called resonance. Now, resonance is when a frequency of a forced vibration on an object matches the object's natural frequency and a dramatic increase in amplitude occurs. Some examples of this you'll see in your everyday life is singer shattering glass, when you're on a swing set and somebody pushes you and you feel that extra boost to go higher on the swing. A great example is the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, a musical wine glass. What I mean by musical wine glass is when you rub your finger around the rim of the glass and you hear a sound, and also instruments. The natural frequency. Every object has natural frequency, and that depends on the size, shape, composition of that object. Now, once that frequency is met, that is when we then will have a forced vibration which causes an action. Please pause this video now and watch our 3 videos on resonance. Alright, so I hope you guys recognize that in our first video of the boy breaking the glass, you saw that the straw began to vibrate when his voice began to match the forced frequency. That is the forced vibration that we're talking about that occurs, which then causes the glass to break. It hits its breaking point. And then if you look on our last video of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, this is an example of wind actually meeting the natural frequency of the bridge. Once the natural frequency of the bridge was met, the bridge then began to vibrate and move. This movement ended up causing the bridge to finally collapse. Our second phenomenon is the Doppler effect. This is when there's an apparent change in frequency due to the relative movement between a source and an observer. A wonderful example of this is just like we have here on the screen of a police car. As a police car or an ambulance is coming towards us, we hear the sound of the siren getting louder. And it is the loudest when it is on our actual position. As it drives by us and drives further and further away, the sound gets lower and lower. Well, this has to do with the crunching of the wavelengths. As that police car drives towards us, we're crunching the wavelengths, making smaller wavelengths, which then in result is creating a higher frequency. This higher frequency creates a higher pitch, which then helps us hear it as it's coming our way. Now, as that car drives away, our wavelengths become longer and longer, which then creates a lower frequency. And we know that with a lower frequency, we then have a lower pitch, which then, for us, we begin to hear it less and less. Please take a second to watch this video clip. Alright, as you saw in this video, we had a car that demonstrated the Doppler effect. As the car is coming towards us, we started to hear the horn get louder and louder, and as it drove by, it started to be less noticeable. Our last thing we're going to talk about with the Doppler effect is when it comes to stars. Now, not only does this work with sound, but this will also work with light. When we see a star, and the star seems to look blue, that means that the star is moving towards us. And when we see a star and it starts to look red, that means the star is moving away from us. Now remember, this can only be seen with a telescope. But again, it's called a blue shift when we see the star because the star looks to be blue, that means it's moving towards us, and as it moves away, it begins to look red. That's called a red shift. And the last thing we're going to talk about is what happens when the sound barrier is approached, right? We know that the speed of sound is 331 meters per second in air, but what happens when we reach that speed or maybe even go past it? Well, if you see in this picture, we have 2 great examples. We have a fighter jet that is breaking the sound barrier and also a whip. Now, many of you might not have known that when you hear the cracking of the whip, that is what happens when the sound barrier is broken. Same goes for when a fighter jet breaks the sound barrier. Now, if nobody has experienced any of these, you will notice that you're going to experience a very loud boom. And if you're lucky, sometimes you actually get to see the sound waves travel through the air. As you see in our diagram here, our fighter jet is flying. It is crunching our wavelengths, which is making smaller wavelengths. And now as our fighter jet moves past those wavelengths created by sound, because it's traveling faster, we then have what we call a sonic boom, right, or a loud boom that is caused from the breaking of the sound barrier. This happens when we have a high pressure region resulting from the piling up of these compressional waves. That's when we get our sonic boom. Please take a couple seconds to listen to a couple of these fighter jets breaking the sounder. It's really some phenomenal stuff.